Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to a video where I reflect on how much money I spent on books in 2021. Brace yourselves. Hi guys, today without any planning really, I didn't plan this video back in 2020 being like I'm gonna record this so I can make a video and shame myself, but that just seems to be what's happened. Because in 2021 I tracked all the books I brought, whether they were gifted, whether I read them and all that sort of stuff, so I kind of accumulated naturally a lot of stats regarding all the books I brought in 2021. And once I'd finished putting in the last book I brought in 2021 and I saw the total, I was like, I need to make a video of this so I can shame myself and make better actions next year. So that's what we're here to do today. So without further ado, let's hop into the stats that I recorded from my book buying habits in 2021. I'm ashamed to say, and I'm just going to get this out of the way so you all guys know exactly how much I spent. But I spent £499 and 1p on books, and I just don't think you realise how much money you spend on books when you accumulate them slowly. I brought like one book here and one book there, and slowly they just all start to add up, and by the end of the year I had spent almost 500 quid on books, which is an extortionate amount of money, especially as me and my boyfriend are trying to move out next year. No, this year. By the end of 2022 we are hoping to have our deposit down so we can start looking at houses early 2023, which is crazy because it's pretty much this year. And if we want to move out, I need to start being a bit more sensible when it comes to my money and books. It is hard, and I'm going to try my absolute hardest in 2022 to improve all these stats. But in 2021, I acquired 120 books in total, obviously spending £499 and 1p on books. However, the stat that I'm actually pretty proud of is that I have read 55% of those books that I have acquired, which is pretty good going. Like, I've read around 60 plus books of those books I acquired last year, and I think that's pretty good going. I wasn't expecting to have read as many, but I am proud of myself that I have managed to read over 50% of that acquired collection. 33% of my total 120 books were gifted to me. Obviously, a lot of them thanks to you guys, my subscribers, my friends. I don't expect gifts from you guys, but the fact that you want to support me and my channel by gifting me books, I'm very much appreciative of. I did have on my spreadsheet a tally of how many books were gifted, and the total was 33%. And by the end of 2021, I had unhauled 10% of those books. So around 12, which I don't think is actually that bad, to be fair. I have unhauled a few books. I did a whole unhaul video right at the end of the year. If you want to see that, I'll link up above and down below for you guys. But I unhauled a lot of books, and only 10% of those were the ones I acquired in 2021. A lot of those, if I'd done the actual stats, I haven't. But a few of those books are actually books I hadn't read yet that I acquired in 21, which is not a great habit to get into, to buy books and then unhaul them without reading them. But my tastes were changing a lot throughout 2021, so it was natural for me to unhaul books I hadn't read yet because my tastes were changing so much. So I'm fine with that. 10% isn't a massive number, and I'm just so proud of the fact that I read 55% of them, so I can't complain too much. I thought it would be fun to look back on my spreadsheet and see what my most expensive purchase was of 2021 regarding books, and the most I spent on a book in 2021 was £25, which seems like a lot of money, and it definitely is for me, but this was a very special book. I brought it on my trip to Bath with Mark. It was our first kind of trip away together, and I wanted a book to remember that, and so I brought the first edition signed version of Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, a book that I really wanted to read, and I have done a whole vlog about it above and down below for you guys if you want to check it out. But I read this book across 24 hours. I did a whole vlog about it. I didn't love this book. I gave it a 3 stars in the end, but it just holds so much like sentimental value to me now. So for me, it was worth the 25 quid when I brought it at the time. I wouldn't actually pay 25 quid for it having read it and knowing what the plot was, but back at the time I wanted something to remember my trip with Mark, and this was a book that I really wanted to read, and I did read it, so it's not like a complete waste of money. But yeah, 25 quid is a lot of money for one single book, but it is a hardback and it's pretty, and it's wrapped in plastic because it's a signed first edition, so I got Taylor Jenkins Reid's signature. So I can't complain, but that was a very expensive book, but it holds a lot of memories, so it's fine. I was going to do my cheapest book that I brought in 2021, but the cheapest I buy books at is 99p on iBooks when I see deals going for ebooks. So I have added up all my 99p purchases this year, and in total I spent £10 on 99p books, which isn't too bad going, to be fair, but like I said, it all does add up. I buy like 99p book here, a 99p book there, and you don't realise that it does eventually add up, and £10 is a price of a single hardback. So value for money wise, ebooks when they go on offer are a great way to spend your money and make your money stretch further regarding reading. But I don't love ebooks, which I discovered in 2021 as well. I don't love reading ebooks, so I really do want to try and minimize my purchases on my iBooks account in 2022. I was looking through my list of books I had purchased in this past year, and I was like, there are actually a few books that I regret purchasing in general, and I'm just going to run them off. There's only 3. The first one is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job. I brought this on a whim. I was with my boyfriend in Waterstones and I was attracted by the cover. It sounded pretty good going when I was there then in the shop, but I kind of wish, which is another goal of mine in 2022, is to read the first page or a couple of pages of a book when I'm in a bookstore to make sure that I like the writing style before committing to a purchase. And I just didn't do it with this one, and I'm not interested in reading this book, and it's definitely a book that I probably won't actually read before unhauling it. I've kept it for now because I want to give it a go, but yeah, I definitely regret buying this one. Another book I regret purchasing is 9 Perfect Strangers. I brought this with Chloe at a charity shop. It was going for cheap because her local charity shop does 4 books for the price of 3. So I was like, what's the harm in getting a couple of books? Maybe if I'm not that interested in them, it doesn't really matter. But I realised that it has mattered. It adds another book to my TBR that I don't really care for, and this is a book that I probably won't ever end up reading. I just have no interest in it, so yeah, another book I regret purchasing. And the last book I regret purchasing is Wild Beauty, because I didn't really know what I was getting myself in for when it came to this book. If you guys know, I did host a book club last year where we read a mixture of contemporary and romance fiction and non-fiction books, and this was meant to be our December pick. However, when it came to December, I didn't want to read this book. I said to Molly, who was my co-host at the time, I just don't really feel like it, and therefore it just kind of hasn't happened. And I think that's okay to kind of know yourself and understand yourself in the fact of books you don't want to read, and this is one of them. I actually only brought it for my book club, so yeah, this is a book I definitely regret purchasing because I would not have read it without my purpose of a book club. And the fact that now that month of the book club isn't happening, I'm just a bit like, this book is on my shelf for no reason and I do not care for it. So those 3 books are the ones I regret most. There are still a few on that spreadsheet that I created that I still don't care for reading, but they kind of still had a little bit of hope in me that I was going to read them, but those 3 I just really don't care for whatsoever. And now we're coming on to the last kind of thing I wanted to discuss, and that is how can I improve those stats in 2022? 1, to help me move out quicker, and 2, just to be a bit more mindful when it comes to book buying in 2022. So I've created 3 little goals that I want to try and work towards and try and improve on those stats from 2021 in 2022. So of course the first one is I want to reduce the total amount of expenditure that I spent on books in 2021 in 2022, and I want to reduce this by at least 30%. So if I can get my total expenditure to like £200–300, I'll be very, very happy. But I don't want to say 50% because I just feel like that is a massive drop, and I think it's going to take a bit longer to slowly reduce my expenditure in books. But if I can at least get it to like 300, if I'm lucky, £200, but we'll see. I don't want to restrict myself if I really, really want to buy a book, but I just want to be a little bit more mindful in the books that I am actually purchasing and making sure I don't regret any of the purchases that I do make. Which leads me on to my third little goal, which is to be more mindful when it comes to purchasing books and making sure that I do only buy books I really, really want to read and I think I'm going to love. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use my library more. I've spoken about this a bit before on my channel, but my library now has had a refresh and the book selection in there now is improving, and I do want to therefore use the library more to read books I'm a bit unsure on, and then if I do end up really, really enjoying the books, then I can purchase them for myself, knowing that I'm not adding a book to my physical TBR, but I'm adding a book to my collection that I did really, really enjoy. And then, like I said, in 2021 I read 55% of the books that I acquired, which is incredible. I think that's an amazing stat. But I still want to keep improving on that number so I'm not left with a massive, massive physical TBR. So in 2022, I hope to read 70% of the books I acquire this year. It sounds like a lot, but I did 50% without even trying last year. So I think 70% is definitely doable in my personal opinion and my personal reading and my personal book buying habits. I definitely think reading 70% of the books I acquire in 2022 is definitely doable. So those are the 3 little goals I came up with to try and improve on my book buying habits this year. And I really, really hope I can reduce the expenses that I have on books. Because when I tallied that total of book prices up, I was fairly shocked, and yeah, it was a bit intense for me to come to realise, and that's why I've created this video, just to keep myself accountable. And then maybe I can come back next year and reflect on this video and see what my book buying habits were actually like in 2022 as well. So that's what I wanted to discuss with you guys today. I just wanted to make this video, have a little bit of fun, and I know we all love a bit of stats and reflecting, so I thought I would do this video. And I'm actually glad I did, because it's helped me reflect on the stats that I created instead of just kind of making them and leaving them to be. So I'm glad I made this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below what your most expensive book was of 2021. Do you regret buying any books? How much did you spend on books? I would love to know, and make me feel less alone in the amount I spent on books. I would really, really appreciate it. So once again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a massive thumbs up. Subscribe down below to see future content from me. I do anything from weekly reading vlogs, themed reading vlogs, book recommendations, other fun bookish content, I guess. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any more future content. And without further ado, I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.